Hey guys, it's me, Van91, and I'd just like to talk about Ubisoft again. I know I did my Ubisoft video because there was that rumor or whatever that like Sony and Microsoft are pressuring them to cap their PC games at 30 frames per second. I almost said 60. But of course, one thing I actually want to talk about though is what the limitations of these consoles are. I mean, at first, the councils were speaking like they had power. They were like saying 8 gigs of this and stuff like that. And it was like, everybody was like, oh yeah, it's going to be dead powerful. And then they came out and it's like, no, they can't do what everybody thought they could do. And I'm like, what? Listen, with all that stuff, you should be able to do what everybody thought they could do and more. Why? Because the councils, what they have in them, if you put that in a PC, I'm pretty sure it could do a lot more than what these councils seem to be able to do. But of course, the thing is that with the councils, I don't know too much about the tech, but what it seems is that these councils have to either go with higher graphics or lower frame rate. And in Assassin's Creed Unity, it seems like they're selling with lower frame rate. Now, with Assassin's Creed Unity, the thing is that I think the biggest thing that put them down was the crowd. This isn't confirmed, but you guys see the huge crowd in Assassin's Creed Unity. It looks like they want to keep them at a good quality, so they lowered the frame rate to up the quality, it seems like. Now, usually I prefer better frame, a game that plays better than a game that looks better. But if you notice for games like, let's just go with Lord of the Rings Conquest. The game didn't look that good because it had so many people on screen at once. But it still played pretty fluently. Even though it didn't, I don't think it sold too much. But still, when you think about it, this game is only going to be 930 FPS on the new consoles. But this is not the game that we should be thinking about. The Division is the game we should be thinking about. Why? Because The Division seeks to do, in my opinion, a lot more than Assassin's Creed Unity. It's true, it doesn't have big crowds. It doesn't seem to have big crowds. But it's going to be like an MMO. Do you know how much an MMO, because how much people can be on screen at one time with an MMO, depending on what type of MMO is? If it's like Destiny, then it's not going to be too much, I believe. But if it's like, and even Destiny can have a number of people in one place at one time, I believe. But if it's like Old Republic or something like that, and everybody's just there, that's going to require so much power to look good. I mean, it looks great at E3, but can they keep that up when there's like 1 million people on the server? That's what I'm thinking about, because if Ubisoft can't currently put these games at 1080p, 60 FPS, you think they're going to put The Division at 1080p, 60 FPS? I doubt it. And the Division, I think they're going to have to come down to, once again, graphics or playability. I hope they go to playability there because it's an MMO. I'm not going to care as much about graphics. MMO, you don't expect them to look as good as regular games. It's just a thing. They don't look as good as regular games because they have so many people on screen and so many people on the server. I'll tell you, Ubisoft or anyone really dealing with lately it's just been about like, oh, this one can't do 900, this one can't do 1080p. I know that on one hand, we shouldn't be too concerned about graphics. If the game is great, the game is great. But the problem is that these consoles came out, they boasted power when mostly the Xbox One, of course, but still it was PS4 in some degree, when the power couldn't follow through with the, like, you couldn't get 1080p 60 FPS. It was like, people were like, what? That's because these consoles came out and they boasted so much about power. At least to my memory, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me like these consoles, when they first were being all the conferences and stuff, they were talking about what the consoles could do, how powerful the hardware was, and then these console makers cannot turn around and say, oh well, we can get to 900p or we can get to only 720p or whatever p, and it's like, what? You can't tell us that this thing is so powerful and then be like, that not get to 1080p. It's just not something that you could do. It's like me boasting how good this television looks and then it can't even do like what my old television used to do or something like that. Not that, see, the thing is that I understand with games like Assassin's Creed Unity where you have huge amount of crowds, it's hard to get full to 1080p and 60 frames per second. But the problem is that I believe that so many games that have been announced seem to be taking a much bigger steps than Assassin's Creed Unity. Assassin's Creed Unity is just 4-player co-op with the crowd, it has AI there. But to me, with other games, I mean, you guys see E3 and stuff. They have so much more games coming out. I feel like a lot of them are taking bigger leaps than Assassin's Creed Unity is. A lot. So I just don't know how this is going to go when Assassin's Creed Unity can only go to 900p, 30 FPS, and when other games come out that are more ambitious, Division, which I believe is more ambitious than Assassin's Creed Unity, what's it going to do? Oh, well, we can't make it look good, so it's going to be like 720p and 30 FPS. I'm like, what? These consoles, when they came out, Microsoft and Sony both wanted us to believe how powerful their console was, how great it was, what it could do and stuff. And then it comes out, and they can't put what people thought they could. They can't give you 1080p and 60 FPS, which is what they basically made us think when they were trying to. I'm not gonna say I guess made us think is weird because that's weird, but. Still, they seem to want us to think that this console is going to be so powerful, give us such great graphics. And it's like, what? No. I know that the graphics are better than 360 and PS3 and blah, blah, blah. Yes, Wii U. But still, Wii U is actually right now, I'm pretty sure, has more games out than Xbox or PS4 that are 1080p and 60 FPS. So... of course, that has to probably do with Nintendo making a lot of its own games and knowing how to use its own hardware. A lot of these games that are not making 1080p are, I think, third-party games for Xbox One and PS4. So it makes sense, kind of, that they wouldn't be able to since they're not as familiar with the hardware as the console makers would be. But still, you guys, please talk to me about this one because this one is big to me. This one really, because these consoles are supposed to last 10 years. I mean, the way they're going now, are they even going to last close to that? Anyway, you guys tell me. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and God bless.